What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous Georgian goes deliver yet again another MMA superstar. It's one of the highly ranked flyweights in the world. His name is KaraFrance. He's got a big fight against Cody Garbrandt on December 11th, UFC 269. What up, Kai? How are you?
What's up, boys? No, I'm good. Really good. Back into the camp now, so all the hard work's done. So I can't wait to just get in there. It's been too long. I miss it. I miss that feeling. My last fight was at the Apex with no crowd. So this time, full packed T-Mobile Arena. So I can't wait.
I know this sounds like a silly question, but you said you can't wait to get in there, and of course, you want to punch somebody. You want to punch their liver, their face. You want to knee somebody. But does some of you also like kind of getting hit a couple times? Is that what even gets you going on fight night? And I know it sounds silly, but there's a lot of fighters that have told me, man, I don't get going until I get smacked.
Yeah, definitely. You miss that feeling of, being in danger and that adrenaline rush and knowing that any moment you could get hurt as well as your opponent. So, no, I definitely miss that adrenaline rush. And, yeah, I can't wait to see what Cody brings to the table. See, I want to see the best Cody and make a statement in this fight. This is my coming out party fight, one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, and an anticipated matchup. This is big for the flyweight division. Both guys love to come forward. Both guys like to strike. We both have knockouts on our record, so we'll settle it in the middle. And I see it going one way, and that's with my hand raised.
And this was full fans because you've been in a pay-per-view in Abu Dhabi, but I don't think you guys had as much fanfare as is probably expected in Vegas, where now the arenas are pretty full. Does that matter to you? Like, do you feed off the crowd a lot?
So the last time I fought in front of a crowd was in my hometown, UFC Auckland. That was 2 years ago. So, you can't get a better reception than fighting in your hometown. I think it was about 10 a.m. in the morning, and I was fully packed out. Everyone came to watch the whole team, City Kickboxing, put on a show. And that night we did a three-peat. Me, Dan, and Brad all got wins. And this time I'm on my own. I'm fighting on my own on this card, but I've got my whole country behind me and all that support behind me. So I know there won't be too many New Zealanders in the crowd, but Vegas should know who I am. So I'm excited to feed off that energy in the crowd and to hear my walkout song and to know that it's my time. And timing is everything in this sport. A few years ago, Cody Garbrandt was the face of the UFC, and now he's trying to reinvent himself at the flyweight division. So I'm just welcoming all these challenges, and it's just another milestone to take out a former champ and start to make a run for this title.
Not just Las Vegas knows who you are. The whole world knows who you are. The whole world knows who City Kickboxing is. The Kiwis have come strong. Who doesn't love a Kiwi? I mean, seriously, your country doesn't get much hate from what I've noticed. Like, everyone loves them. The All Blacks, the haka dances. Bring it. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate the love, bro. Thank you.
No, seriously, the way you guys have taken the sport by storm, the coach has gotten accolades, obviously Israel and what he's done in the sport, but Riddell fights the week before you. You got your fight coming up, and like I said, there's just been like a lot of success from I know they're rivals in some ways, but Australia and New Zealand have really come correct in the last 10 years.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a massive wave of talent coming through. The Anzacs, New Zealand and Australia, and it's amazing to be a part of that journey and a part of that movement. And City Kickboxing is right at the front of that, and that's just testament to our head coach Eugene Behrman. He's the glue that puts this all together, and he's the reason why everyone's been so successful. So I was based in Thailand for a few years, and earlier in my career. Best move I ever did was come back home to New Zealand and start training under Eugene Behrman and at City Kickboxing. So, privilege and honor to be one of the fighters that represent this gym. And it's been a weird time. New Zealand's been in a lockdown, or my city, especially in Auckland. We've been in a lockdown for 100 days now, which means we've been very restricted in what we can do and where we can go. And it's been just adapting this camp and adjusting, getting creative with our trainings, and you're just doing controlling what we can and doing the best with the situation. So I'm happy with the camp that we've come up with, and I've ticked all the boxes. I left no stone unturned, and you'll see that come fight night. I'm excited for this one.
Can you expand a little bit, because I've lauded New Zealand in the past when the pandemic first started as a country that went out of its way to keep its citizens safe. But then I noticed as well that there was a little bit of a pushback, because I think some of the time where you quarantined or isolated started becoming a little bit too much. I know a few athletes started saying, I might have to move because it's been too much. Where does it stand now? Because I thought I read a headline recently where maybe the government and the people are communicating a little bit better, and now travel will be a little easier. What do you know about this?
Yeah, so New Zealand at the start of all of this pandemic, we're doing the elimination strategy, which was pretty much to eliminate COVID and to live without it. But this Delta strain was a different beast, and it just wasn't possible. So now we had to, for a whole year, we were living like we were normal because there was no COVID in the community. But then it came in, and then it just took over. So the government had to change their strategy and turn into pretty much vaccinating everyone, mandating vaccines, and that's the only way they're going to move forward. So luckily enough, New Zealand's pretty much 90% vaccinated. Wow. And we'll be able to just over Christmas, the whole country will open up, and we'll be able to just live normally again. And so it's just something that we've had to adapt and adjust to, catch up to the rest of the world. And early next year, our borders will open up again. So this fingers crossed with all the success New Zealand's been getting, we can get a UFC card down here. It's been too long, and I know everyone misses it, and we just want to put smiles on everyone's faces. So for us, we're privileged to be able to go overseas and still continue doing our job. In the mix of this pandemic, our gym, City Kickboxing, was the only sports team in New Zealand that were leaving and still competing, because every other sport had stopped. Rugby, soccer, there was no other teams competing on that world stage besides City Kickboxing in the UFC. So now that we can see a light at the end of the tunnel, going over to America, we can get home now. We still have to quarantine, so we still have to book a room for MIQ, which is a managed isolation for 7 days, and then you're allowed to go back into the community. So it's just something that we have to do and adapt to, but it's finishing early next year as well, so that you won't have to go into those MIQ rooms. You can just go home, self-isolate for a few days, and then continue living your life. So we can't wait to just get out and just be normal again. It was crazy to see Dan and Alex over in Vegas at a Raiders game in front of 60,000 people, because we were locked in our house. We couldn't leave for the last 3 or 4 months. So to see a full crowd like that was crazy to see. Yeah.
I've been saying that y'all deserve a stadium show, by the way, when they go back. Not just an arena show, a stadium show. What I'm not familiar with is climate. I don't know if, like Hawaii, they get an hour of rain every day. I don't know if you guys are like that. But you can always work around it. You can always – now there's some stadiums where the roof closes or who knows what. I just think that part of the world deserves a stadium show. Melbourne came strong, and I have a feeling New Zealand, there's got to be one of your cities that is a sporting city that can do that. You know what I mean? And you guys have enough top 10 fighters to pull it off.
Yeah, I doubt, definitely. I 100% agree with you. We do have a big stadium in Auckland. Eden Park is where the All Blacks play. That's our national rugby team. But it is an open top, so there's no roof. But it does fit, just under 100, about 80,000 people. So, they could pull that off. But realistically, it's probably going to have to be back in Melbourne at, I think it's the Marvel Stadium, where Israel fought Robert Whittaker. I wasn't on that card, but I was there front row seat, and that was a spectacle. Just being there, seeing so many people in the building. I think there was just under 60,000 people. The cage looks so small, but the atmosphere in that place was, you're going to remember that forever. And I want to be on a card like that. And in saying that, with Hawaii, I would love for the UFC to go there and to have put on a fight, maybe the trilogy against Alex and Holloway. That would be amazing. You know, Hawaii and New Zealand have a close connection, being both Polynesian. So anywhere that the UFC want to put a card in front of my ancestors and my people, I'm all for it, and I'd love to be on that card as well.
Wow, that's a pretty good angle now that I think about it. Hawaii definitely deserves a stadium show, but first Eden Park. Come on, we were on a roll, and all of a sudden you're taking us back to Melbourne and then Hawaii. Let's get to New Zealand first. You know, a little greedy on my side because as media, I've never been to New Zealand, and this is one where I put in my credentials. Anyway, so as far as you're concerned, you're not part of the wave that might ever move to the United States. It seems like New Zealand's done enough to keep you homebound as a fighter, right? In training and living, and you're not.
Well, as of now, the weight game is kind of finally over, where we were just seeing what the government was going to do, and Eugene. I was listening just to what Eugene had to say, and he was making these decisions. It wasn't coming from me, so as a team collectively, we were taking it week by week. Pretty much, if we couldn't train, we would be moving, and eventually we got through a whole camp. We nearly got through a whole camp, and so we didn't have to move and be away from our families. So my family's still going to come over with me to Vegas and be by my side and be with me over the Christmas holidays. So lucky enough to have them with me. But it's just business as usual. You know, we're not going over there for a holiday. This is my livelihood. This is how I feed my family. I'm a new found father. My son's nearly 10 months now, so different kind of motivation, you know, coming into these fights. And all of this lockdown and restrictions, I ended up marrying my partner as well. So, a lot of blessings have come my way, and a lot of new motivators, but they're all good things. And now it's the fun part. You know, we've put in the work for this fight, and I've been lucky enough to be able to still train and get creative and push myself past these boundaries that I need to in these high level fights. And I'm happy with the camp that we've put together. And now it's the fun part. You know, I just want to get over there and do what we need to do.
Kai, you mentioned Cody going down to flyweight, and I often say this. To me, when a fighter does that, you know when you borrow your friend's car or your family member's car, and it takes you a little while to realize when I hit the gas, it's a little different in this car. You know, when I hit the brakes, he's basically in a new car, in my opinion. You know, his body's going to work a little different. Do you feel like that move going down, do you think it's going to take him just a minute to kind of just, there's always in that back of the head, you know, at this weight class, do I have the same power? Do I have the same speed? All that. Is that a factor at all, do you think, in this fight?
Oh, 100%. You know, this is the biggest stage in the world, and you don't want to be cutting weight for the first time in front of all these people on the biggest pay-per-view with me standing in front of you. You don't know how your body's going to react. Being a bantamweight early in my career, when I did make the cut down to flyweight, it took a few fights to kind of see the success and just figuring out how your body's going to react, and that over time that just comes with experience. You know, this isn't my first time cutting the flyweight in the UFC. This will be my 8th appearance now, so there's nothing new to me. You know, I know how I'm going to recover, and that's because I've got great team around me, and a nutritionist, the fight dietitian. He knows my body better than I do, so having them, he'll be over there in Vegas, and having him do my weight cut and rehydration, you know, that just gives me a peace of mind. But for Cody, you know, he's trying to reinvent himself at this new weight class, and there's a lot of questions to be answered. How's he going to recover from the weight cut? How's his chin going to hold up? Being, coming off second best in a few of his last fights. How's his cardio going to weigh up? And also, being in this new weight class, he was fast at bantamweight, probably one of the fastest, but everyone's fast in this weight class. And it's all about scrambles. It's all about transitions. And for me, you know, this is what we do. That is how we train in these camps. It's just about angle, speed, footwork, and then finding the holes and putting them away. So Nothing's new for me. If he's taken a book out of Dan Hooker's, my teammate's notebook, he did a practice cut to one featherweight, 145, and made it. So that's an interesting, it's very interesting that he's going to potentially drop down, even though, he's one of the best lightweights in the world. He wants to, I guess, have a new challenge and drop back down to featherweight and see some great matchups down there. I'd love to see a Korean Zombie or a Yayi rematch. I think it would be a whole lot different. It's just different when you're doing the first time, making the weight for the first time for a big fight.
Okay, so this is a fight that a lot of people are looking forward to because of your guys' style. You both are always come forward. You have cardio for days. Is there a particular fight in your history that you could point at where you could say, if this Kai KaraFrance shows up this night, there's no losing?
I think this Kai coming to this fight is a whole lot different than my other fights. I feel like this time away, my last fight was in March. I've had a bit of time to evolve, adapt, and add to my toolbox. And I think every fight I've shown new things and I evolved with the sport. And in my training camps, I've adapted and brought in new techniques, not just sticking to the same game plan. I've brought in new coaches and just try to adapt as much as I can. And that's why our gym's been so successful, because that's what our coaches do. They never are complacent about the way they're doing things, and it's a collective input. It's not just one person making the decisions here. It's a lot of smart men that are coming up with game plans and strategies, and then we're just listening. We're just the vehicles that are listening to everything they have to say. So coming into this fight against Cody, just being a bit more experienced now than when I was first in the UFC, being in pay-per-view fights before, finally living up to my nickname, Don't Blink. I was going to have to change it if I didn't get finish in my last fight. And, going 3 rounds with the current champ right now, Brandon Moreno, it was a close fight. That definitely gave me a bit of security that I know I'm one of the best in the division, and I can go, the distance with the champ. And I definitely won that first round. I dropped the champ twice, and the third round was close as well. He adapted well. He's a lot better since we fought. I'm a lot better since I fought Brandon Moreno. So not looking past Cody at all, but I see myself putting away Cody and then getting a title shot. And early in 2022, you'll see me fighting for the title and winning a rematch against Brandon Moreno. I think he's going to get past Figueroa. The third fight, I feel like it's going to go similar to the second. I feel like Figueroa's camp with Cejudo isn't going to make too much of a difference. He's going to always do what he does, and that's just be aggressive and come forward. So I think Brandon is a bit too crafty, and he'll find a finish. And I can see myself setting myself up for a title shot early 2022.
So since we have the crystal ball out, I know you can't give away your strategy, but can you at least tell us how you see this fight finishing?
How I see this fight finishing, it's going to be action-packed right from the get-go. We're going to stand in the middle. We're going to be trading punches and strikes, and he's going to feel the weight cut. He's definitely going to be pushed, and then eventually I'll put him away. So I can see myself being overwhelming, and once he realizes that the flyweights have power, and it was a bad matchup to come down for the first time against me, he'll realize that it was a bad move. If you look at TJ Dillashaw as the blueprint of how to cut down the flyweight, it's never ended well. So I can't wait, and just expect fireworks.
I love it, man. This guy's telling us what to expect in this fight and the title fight, and that he'll get a shot in 2022. You answered a lot of questions, and I dig it. A lot of fighters will give us the standard, well, I'm just focused on this fight. We know that. But it's so much fun as media and fans to we want to ride with you guys, you know what I mean? So if you tell me I'm taking this guy down, and then I'm calling this guy out, and I'm going to be champ, and I'm in, I'm rooting for you.
Appreciate it.
That's great that you kind of gave us a little bit of that outlook. And so you think Brandon's going to be Figueredo? You're going to take care of Cody, and you feel like you've grown enough that you can take out Moreno in 2022. So now we got to have that stadium fight, right?
Yeah.
Got to either in Azteca Stadium in Mexico, or they're not doing as good as in COVID though as New Zealand, or Eden Park, I believe you called it.
Yeah, Eden Park.
We're setting things up nicely over here. Hey, what would you have gone with, by the way, since you have a sense of humor and you said "Don't Blink" was at risk? What would have been the backup nickname, like 2KF, or you got something else up your sleeve?
I was going to leave it to the fans. I was just going to say, what's the new nickname? Obviously, it ain't working out. So let's
But
just.
Check it out. I did a little bit of my homework because you're going to get this question a lot. Not in terms of the last finish or anything, but Cody is going to be much respect to him. He does have pop in his hands, okay, and he's going to get a lot of that questions like he's got the power. But you have just as many KOs as he does, by the way. I don't know if people know that. You have 10, he has 10. Now he has less fight. He has less sample size. He's had 16 fights, and I believe you're at 31 or something like that. However, this is where the research came in. 2KF, don't blink. 9 of those were in your first 21 fights. So if anybody wants to say, well, you had more fights to do it, at least if we bring it down, it's pretty similar. You know what I mean? Your power is there. Your fight-ending ability is there via submission or KO, and that's what I'm expecting. I think this one might steal the show on December 11th.
No, there's it's definitely a great prediction. Coming into this fight, we both had been in big fights and had big knockouts. So this is definitely my biggest fight of my career. But I haven't put pressure on myself, and we haven't built this up more than it needs to be. It's just another guy that's dropping down. I've trained with high caliber fighters day in, day out, and I feed off their success, and it's contagious. It definitely rubs off on you, and seeing my teammates go out there and put it on the line, that's another motivator. We've had teammates that are not with us anymore. They've passed away in tragic accidents or in events, and we carry on their legacy. So when I represent City Kickboxing, I represent them, and they're in my corner. So this means everything to us when we step out on that world stage. We know they're not here with us anymore. So we have a job to do, and we have people to take care of and people to represent. So you'll see that fire come fight night. And that's why I'm so confident in myself, because I know I've done as much as I can for this fight. I've left no stone unturned. I brought in everyone that I need to for this camp, coaches, training partners, and I've got that fire underneath me, having a son that's looking up to me as his role model and as his father. I'm going out there and laying it all on the line.
What's his name, by the way? Can you share?
Kobe.
Kobe, okay.
Yeah.
Kobe with a K, I imagine.
No, with a C.
Oh, okay. So,
it's with a C. So we wanted to make it a little bit different.
Got it. So you know what? I know a Kobe that was a soccer player for the United States years ago. He was really, really good. And then, of course, we know Kobe Bryant, the L.A. Lakers superstar.
Yeah.
And then if we really, really want to get down and gritty, there's also Kobe Ty, but we won't say what kind of movies she makes. We'll leave her out of it. I'm just messing around here. Oh, that's a cool name, Kobe. Yeah, and I'm glad you gave a shout out to your teammate. A lot of us lost a lot of people recently for a variety of reasons. We're in a tough spot, but it's great that you're giving him some shine. And
his name's Fal Vaki, by the way. Our teammates Israel and Brad both paid homage to him in their last win. So, he's definitely going to be in our corner, and he'll be enjoying the fight. I can guarantee that.
That means a lot to his friends and family for you guys to remember him like that and think of him like that. I think a lot of us wonder what happens when we're gone. And sure, there's a period of immense pain, tremendous pain, and then everyone continues to move on. And you always think, I guess, will I be forgotten, remembered? But that's great. And I'm sure he's looking down on you guys, smiling that you guys are, keeping his name alive, and that's just outstanding, man. That's another thing that's really interesting about your gym is how tight you guys are as a unit and how committed you guys are. Dan was in our studio once at Mandalay Bay over there in Las Vegas, and he told us, you win, you get to celebrate for like 12 hours, but you're back in, like you got to help them get better the same way they got you better. And I was like, wow, you guys are some gangsters down there.
Yeah, bro. If we could fight every week, we would. It's just how it is. We've got a short window of how long we can do this, and our clock's ticking. Being in this pandemic, that really halted the whole team. We would be fighting on every card. And when we're all on a card, we all go as well. So it's really made it very difficult because every time we've had to fight, we've had to come home and do 2 weeks quarantine. I think Eugene's done it maybe 8 or 9 times, if not more. That's a long time in isolation, and that's the kind of commitment and the kind of passion that he has for us. He doesn't want to miss it. He knows the opportunities that we get from fighting, and he's willing to stay in a room for 2 weeks just to make sure that we're in the best place to get the wins and to further our careers. So just to have people like that are so selfless and put themselves forward, that just makes you want to put everything into it, because that it's a two-way street. He's putting everything into it, so you got to turn up with the right attitude and just work hard. So we're excited for this one. Another week of training, just fine-tuning things. Nothing too crazy. We don't want to push too hard and get injured. So we know how to fine-tune it. Just make it very specific and to the point. And then we fly out to Vegas. So yeah, I can't wait for this. And like I said, enjoy the fireworks because it's going to be a banger.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. We caught up on a lot, and safe training, safe travel, safe weight cut. We'll see you in a couple weeks here in Sin City.
I appreciate it, Royce. Thank you for the time and for the catch up.